Listen up because I am issuing an immediate Code Ninja security advisory. The window for proactive defense, well, it's completely closed. This is an urgent explainer breaking down CVE 2026-34-9010. We are talking about an active, maximum-severity vulnerability that is literally ripping through networks across the globe right now. So if you manage Ubiquiti UniFi OS devices, you need to drop whatever you're doing, focus your attention on this intel, and prep your team for an immediate response. Threat actors are already inside the perimeter. Let's dive right into exactly what we're dealing with here.
10.0. I really want that number to sink in for a second. In our world, we use the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, or CVSS, to rank these things. A base score of 10.0, that is categorized as critical. It is the absolute maximum severity a flaw can possibly receive. Translation: this bug requires low complexity to exploit, needs zero user interaction, and gives remote, completely unauthenticated attackers a total technical takeover. We are talking about a complete 100% compromise of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Without a patch, you are entirely exposed.
Now, because time is a luxury we literally do not have right now, we're skipping the usual history lesson and executing a strict triage protocol. Here is our agenda. We'll rapidly cover the zero-day threat, execute a secure comms check, map out the blast radius and the mandatory patch instructions, and then we'll conclude with the ethics code behind this disclosure.
Okay. Initiating Phase 1, the zero-day threat. We're looking at a nasty command injection flaw lurking right within the UniFi OS architecture.
This weakness is officially cataloged as CWE20, which stands for improper input validation. But what does that actually mean for us? Well, it means a malicious actor who just has access to your network can exploit this specific flaw to bypass all of your authentication entirely. They can execute arbitrary commands right on your server. They aren't just knocking on your front door, They're blowing the entire wall wide open. And once they achieve this full server compromise, they're actively weaponizing it. They're stealing confidential data, deploying ransomware payloads across your systems, or just pivoting directly into your internal corporate networks to do even more damage.
Let's look at the timeline, because this escalated with terrifying speed. On May 21, 2026, this was officially published to the National Vulnerability Database. At that point, active exploitation was assessed as none, but man, that changed fast. By June 9th, security tooling caught up and reports started surfacing of in-the-wild exploitation. Threat actors were actively hijacking vulnerable servers and basically conscripting them into Mirai botnets. It got so bad that by June 23rd, CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, stepped in. They confirmed the active attacks, slapped it onto their known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, and issued a strict mandate. Which brings us to the ticking clock, June 26, 2026. That is your absolute deadline for mandatory remediation.
Pivoting briefly here to Phase 2, Secure Comms Check. We need to acknowledge receipt.
Look, in an active mass exploitation event like this, having real-time threat intelligence isn't just nice to have, it's an absolute security necessity. Right now, your status is Comlink setup required. I am directly instructing all network defenders viewing this explainer to subscribe to @cybertech79 and enable all notifications immediately. When 0 days drop, the landscape shifts in minutes, not days. So this channel, this is your secure link for actionable, immediate mitigation data.
In networking, when a packet is received successfully, we send an ACK, right? An acknowledgement. So I need to know, have you ACK'd this critical intelligence? Hit the like button on this explainer right now to formally confirm your receipt of this security advisory. It signals to the algorithm and the whole Defender community that this threat is active, verified, and being taken seriously.
All right, acknowledgement confirmed. Transitioning into Phase 3, the blast radius and patch. Let's secure that perimeter.
NIST has mapped out a sprawling attack surface here, and you need to cross-reference this list with your own asset inventory right this second. The blast radius includes unified cloud gateways, so your industrial, ultra, max, and fiber models, running firmware below version 5.112. It hits the entire Dream Machine ecosystem. I'm talking base, pro, special edition, max, wall, and routers, all below 5.112. And physical security appliances? They are not spared either. Network video recorders and cloud keys below 5.112 are highly vulnerable. Plus, if you're running storage solutions on UNAS configurations under 5.110 or core UniFi OS servers below 5.0.8, you are fully exposed. Seriously, if your hardware is on this list and running those older versions, you are sitting right in the crosshairs.
You are currently facing a very stark binary reality. If you remain unpatched, you are facing active Mirai botnet conscription and imminent ransomware risk. There's no sugarcoating it. The SSVC exploitation status was officially upgraded by CISA from none to active. But, on the flip side, if you are patched, your perimeter is secured, and your internal network is defended, there is absolutely no middle ground here. Because of this, we are rigidly enforcing CISA's Binding Operational Directive 2604. These are your mandatory mitigation steps, no exceptions. Step 1, stakeholders must evaluate the internet exposure of every single asset on their network. Step 2, you must update UniFi OS to the latest patch version immediately. And listen, there is no alternative workaround for this. None. Finally, Step 3, if you cannot apply vendor mitigations or firmware updates by that June 26 deadline, you must completely discontinue the use of the product. Pull the plug. Physically or virtually disconnect the asset from the internet entirely.
Answering our final phase. Phase 4, the ethics code. Coordinated vulnerability disclosure.
It's vital to understand why we're blasting this critical advisory out to the global community. As a security researcher, my core ethos operates under Coordinated Vulnerability Disclosure, or CVD. The rule is simple. Users need to know to protect their systems. We don't just sit on this intel while botnets are out there actively recruiting vulnerable servers. No way. By publicly dissecting the CVS 10.0 vulnerability, we equip network defenders, you, with the exact actionable data you need to force vendor fixes, apply patches, and lock down the perimeter before adversaries can pivot into deeper corporate infrastructure.
This threat is not theoretical. The exploits are live right now. The botnets are building as we speak. You have the intelligence, you have the affected hardware list, and you have the mandated mitigation steps. Your operational readiness is now entirely in your own hands. Which brings us to the ultimate question. Will your network survive the June 26th CISA deadline? When the clock strikes midnight on the 26th, ignorance will no longer be an excuse. Your perimeter will either hold or it's going to crumble. Execute your triage protocols, patch your systems, and disconnect what you cannot defend. Stay secure.